Hello, my loves. Welcome to yet another episode of the Becoming You podcast. And today I'm super excited to bring you an episode all about how to raise confident and self assured kids. Now, as a parent, I know we all have kids and we want them to have, so much confidence because maybe you're struggling with not being confident yourself. You want your kids to be self assured, right? This is something that we all desire because we know and believe that confidence leads to success in life. The more we believe in ourselves, the more it leads to our success. And it just feels really good to raise those kind of kids, right? But how do we do it? Because I know on a day to day basis, it feels like a real struggle, and you might be butting heads all the time with your children. Maybe like me, one of your kids is really like obliging and respectful and a great listener. And then maybe you have another child who is extremely strong willed, opinionated, and prone to having, really like huge tantrums, which then affect the whole family, right? So this is what inspired the episode, because I have come such a long way in learning how to be the best parent that I can be with both of my children who are extremely different. It's always mind blowing to me how, the same parents make two, three, four different kids and they all have they share the same DNA, right? But they all end up so different. And it can be really challenging when when you try to parent them all the same way. And what I've come to realize is that we need to learn to parent in different ways because they all need different things from us. So this was inspired by my own journey with my own kids who are now 9 and 12. And I was not always great or felt confident as a parent. But the more I learn about myself, the more healing work that I do within myself, the more confident a parent I become. And as we enter the tween and the teenage years, I feel more equipped. I don't always have the answers and I don't always get it right, but I feel more equipped and more confident in how to help them navigate through all the challenges that they have, which we never had growing up, especially social media and YouTube and all the challenges that come with technology. All right. So here's one of the main takeaways that I have, lessons that I have learned in becoming a more confident parent myself is it's not about getting our kids to change. I think a lot of us fall into the trap of, I've just got to change that about you. Like, if you're not confident, like, I'm just going to help you change that. Like, if you're not a good listener, I'm just going to extract that and will you to change that. I think when we resist what is, we create more of it because we tend to focus so much of it. So I'm going to be using my son as an example in all of this, right? So he's now 9, but I would say during COVID, like during pandemic and for the last 3 years of his life, it has been a huge challenge because he is someone who feels things extremely intensely. I would say more than the average child. Like when he feels anger, he feels it so much. Like I say, this is the term that I use. I say that he sees red, right? Like it's rage. It's not just anger, it's rage. And it comes out in ways that we don't want it to come out, right? Like slamming doors and throwing things. And when it escalates, sometimes it can even be wanting to hurt the parent who's trying to discipline him. So when we first started experiencing these, it was really scary. And we thought we just had to will it out of him, right? I think we think that our kids have control as much as an adult over their actions and behaviors when we forget that our kids are actually just intensely feeling beings, right? As are we. But as we grow into adulthood, there's a part of our brain that takes over that is more rational, logical thinking, whereas in children, that's not fully developed yet. So we've got to remember that children feel things first. They don't think about things, they just feel it intensely. And if you're blessed with a strong willed feeling child like I am, it can be really hard to navigate and know how to deal with that, especially if you are someone who is very rational and not a feeling person, right? A lot of us have suppressed that side of us. So when our kids feel things very intensely, especially strong emotions, we just want to be like, you'll be fine. Like, don't worry about it, right? We try to help them stop feeling through thinking, and that is the very opposite of what they are capable of doing in that moment. So what I've learned to do is that rather than trying to change who he is, I have to embrace and enhance who he is, which is, it's a wonderful thing that he feels emotions strongly. Yes, when you're a parent, it's extremely inconvenient and it's extremely uncomfortable, but he came out of my womb this way, right? This is who he is. And the divine created him this way. So who am I to say, hey, who you are isn't good enough? And to try and change that aspect of him, right? Like my job is to help him have the tools so that he can navigate these intense emotions. I don't want to shame him for who he is. This is who he is naturally, intuitively. This is what comes to him in like second nature, right? So I have to ask myself, okay, he's being created this way. How can I help him see that this is a strength while also managing like all the discomfort that comes with what happens at home as a result of having somebody who feels things intensely, right? So number one, realize that your job isn't to change your child. Your job is to help them become more of who they already are. And for your job is to first see, how can this be a strength for my child? Instead of only focusing on the inconvenience that it causes you. Okay. That part is really hard to do without you taking the time to take care of yourself and your own insecurities, right? Like we tend to look at a lot of our own personality traits and cast that as, this is not good enough about me and I need to change it. I'm not saying don't work on aspects of yourself, but it always starts with love and acceptance. How can you see what your quote unquote weaknesses as a strength? This is a homework assignment that I get my own clients to do, is make a list of all the things where you feel you're lacking or your personality traits that you wish was different, that's making you that you perceive as weak right now. And then let's help you look at, how can this be a strength? So an example for me is, I used to be told that I was too sensitive all the time. Like when people would give me feedback and I would look at it as criticism, right? And at that time, I was told that I was too sensitive. Now I know that to be a strength. So one of the things that my parents, if they'd known better, could have done is that, yes, I know this hurts deeply when someone comes back to you with feedback that sounds like criticism. Like, I know this feels like they're personally attacking you, right? Like to empathize with me, right? But then to say, but that you taking things so personally means that you are deeply sensitive and it's important to you. Like you feel things more than the normal average person does. And that's a wonderful thing. I don't know how this is going to be a gift yet, but later, like I know this is a gift. Like in life, this is going to help you in some way. But right now, we need to help you learn that this is not about you, right? That's a conversation that my parents could have had, but they didn't have the tools that we have today, right? So how can you have a conversation with your child about what they might currently be perceiving as shameful or as a weakness of their personalities, in fact, a strength? Okay. So the second thing is, if you find that your child is being disrespectful or not listening or doing things repeatedly, even though you've told them not to do those things, is to try and understand what is the need that is being unmet here. They're not just doing it to be disrespectful, right? They are seeing how much can I push this boundary. They're trying to test, how far can I go? Or they're trying to really test, will you still love me if I continue doing this, right? For younger children, like if you've told somebody to not jump on a couch, right? If you've told your child not to jump on a couch and they keep doing it, they're not just doing it to annoy the heck out of you. That is not their primary goal. Their primary goal might be, I have too much energy and I need to get it out. Or I just want to see how bouncy this is. So it's their curiosity level, right? Or it could be, they haven't had enough of undivided attention from you today so far. And this is one way they know that they can get that undivided attention from you. So there's actually a deeper need that is wanting to be met when they're not listening to you. So our job is to be the detective and ask ourselves, okay, what might lead to my child behaving in this way and repeatedly behaving in this way, even though I'm giving them instructions not to do so? So I'll give you an example. My son came home recently from school, and I could tell that he was on a very short trigger, right? So anything was setting him off. Like anything that his brother said would have set him off. Anything that I would say would set him off. So I could tell that. And he was being unreasonable, right? In terms of what he was demanding. Like his brother would look at him and he'd be like, "Don't look at me." And you'd look, he is looking at me. And I'm like, that's somebody who is deeply, deeply triggered. And that any small action from somebody else is now setting them off and putting them on the warpath to just have a fight, right? So it didn't come out of him right away, but it turned out that that day his teacher had, I guess, given him feedback that he was being too talkative in class. And so they had moved his seats. Like they have assigned seats on the floor. When they sit on the floor, they have assigned seats. When they sit on tables, they have assigned seats. So his assigned seating on the floor had been moved to the front of the class right next to the teacher because he had been talking so much with a friend that was sitting next to him. So he was devastated because he was now not sitting next to his closest friend. And he, my son, adults would have said, "I had a terrible day. This is what happened at work," right? As soon as we walked in. And, but for our kids, he was just going through heartbreak and grief and sadness and anger because he felt powerless over this change, right? So those were all the emotions he was feeling. So anything that was happening at home where he felt even more powerless, like maybe he walked in and said, "Can I have this sugary snack?" And maybe, I said no. So then that would have compounded his feeling of powerlessness. So he was looking to get control, to feel powerful by maybe picking a fight with his brother, right? By saying no to me, to my request. So the underlying need, which wasn't met, was feeling powerful. And that is what we needed to get to at the bottom of. So it all came spilling out eventually at the end of the day. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit about how we dealt with it, right? Because you don't want him interrupting in class, but it's a fine balance of giving your child what he or she needs while also helping them navigate like the reality of life, right? While never losing who they are. So if you find your child to be disrespectful or having big feelings, it's trying to take the time to understand what the unmet needs are instead of just assuming they're just pissing me off. Okay. And the third thing I want you to realize is that we can be empathetic to our children, right? While also holding strong in what needs to be done. This was something that I needed to learn over time because sometimes we can be really empathetic, but actually enable the behavior, right? We don't want to do that. We want to empathize. We want them to know, hey, I get what you're going through, but hold strong in navigating or what the rules that need to be followed, right? It's not about giving in, but it's about empathizing while not giving in. So an example of this again is right now for my son, he's got a teacher that he does not like. He butts heads with her. They have two different, very different personalities. And he's just decided that he doesn't like her, right? There's nothing that I can do to change that because I can see aspects of her where she isn't very nice and she is not a great fit for his personality. So I'm trying to help him understand that we are on his side, that we are doing everything we can in our power to start the ball rolling on discussions at the school of getting his classroom changed, right? Like ultimately, I know for his well-being that in the long run, it might be a good idea to get his teacher changed, but that's not something that I can just click and make something happen immediately. So I empathize when he comes home having had a rough day with his teacher. I don't always agree with the decisions she makes, but I also help him understand that she is ultimately the grown up in the room and we need to abide by her rules. But I also remind him that, hey, grown-ups aren't always right. Like, you can still disagree with the decisions that are being made. You can still be outraged, and she can be in the wrong. Like, I teach him that adults can be wrong and they don't always get it right. But we also have to learn to play by the rules at school. Like, we can't just go storming off doing our own thing, right? He has more of the capacity to do what is right, to follow the rules at school, because I have empathized with him and let him know that life isn't always fair, right? And letting him with kindness and compassion. I'm not saying that's just life, suck it up, right? Which then leads him to feel even more like powerless and out of control and unheard and unseen. But because I spend the time empathizing with him and explaining to him, like, I get it, like, this sucks, right? But at the same time, we've got to figure out how to make every day at school work because we can't go in with this attitude, right? So that actually empowers him. It makes him feel like, hey, like, my parents get me. They get what's going on. They're not oblivious to it. They're not throwing me on the deep end to figure it out on my own, which then gives him the strength to navigate the challenges, which is ultimately what we want our kids to do, right? It's we want our kids to recognize life is hard, life is tough, life throws me challenges all the time, but I am stronger than those challenges, right? We don't want them to teach that life never brings us challenges. This is the hardest thing I've seen my son go through, right? Like, the mom in me wants me to rescue and put him in another class. Like, that would be the easiest solution for everybody involved. But I have to keep reminding myself. Ultimately, this is going to teach him such good life skills, which is dealing with difficult people who just won't like you, right? I have to keep reminding myself that this is, in fact, a gift that is being given to him because he is going to learn how to live with somebody or how to go to work every day, how to go to school every day, knowing that there's somebody there who he doesn't like and who probably doesn't like him a lot of times, right? Like, what a what an amazing thing to be able to learn it at an early age. But I still butt heads with the school. I still advocate for my son. What I'm saying is two things can happen simultaneously. You can tell your child, yes, it sucks, and we can do these things to help you get through the day. As a parent, as an adult, what I'm doing is, yes, it sucks to see my child suffer and come home every day with these really big feelings. And yet I can still hold space, like, don't I butt heads with the school myself and the administration there while still telling my son, hey, we've got to show up to school every day as your best self. Like, both of those can coexist within me. And when you learn to do that, you also teach your kids how to do that. Okay. So how do we raise great kids? It's all about emotional regulation, right? We cannot handle a kid's stuff if we are not good at regulating ourselves, right? The key to raising confident children is to help them regulate, is to help them feel safe within who they are, right? And safety comes from calmness. Comes from knowing how to regulate our own nervous system. It's to learn to become aware of what are my needs? What are my needs that are not being met? And how do I get those needs met in a very healthy way? All of that is what leads to having confident, self-assured children to know life can throw whatever it is that it needs to throw at me, and I've got it. I've got what it takes to navigate through this. I know I can do this. So it's to build self-belief. And self-belief, self-trust, self-esteem, self-worth, all of that is what builds self-assured children. So notice the word self, right? It's all about knowing yourself really well and being able to give yourself what you need without relying on anything external. And how do you give yourself what you need? Is by learning to feel your emotions and learning to give yourself internally what you need, right? So for instance, if you're like super stressed, it might be that in that moment you need to recognize I am super stressed and I need to regulate my nervous system, right? So it could be I just need to breathe, I just need to meditate, or I just need to sit with my feelings. And I need to sit with the discomfort of knowing that nothing is going to solve my challenge right now in this moment, right? So it's really learning to feel the full spectrum of your feelings. And when you learn to do that, guess what? It becomes really easy to teach your kids to do that as well, because then they don't have to reach for anything external. So my son, a lot of time, says, "Well, you just didn't give me that, and that's why I'm so angry," right? And I tell him, "I get that you're upset that you didn't get what you're given, but that is a discomfort. Like, you're feeling angry and frustrated and disappointed right now. And instead of sitting with those feelings, like you want that toy right away to take away these feelings. And we're not going to get that toy right now. Like, that's just not going to happen. Right." And the way that I can help him see that very clearly is because I've done that own work on me. Like, I want X to make me feel this, or to help me fill this bucket that is not being filled right now. And as an adult, I have to realize, well, that's not in your power, right? Like, you can't get that to fill that bucket. So you're going to have to sit with the discomfort of maybe it's inadequacy or rejection or not enoughness, right? It's to work through those feelings and sit with the discomfort. And it's because I've done that work over and over, I can now help guide my son to do that work. So it's unrealistic to expect your kids to do this if you're not willing to do the work yourself. It becomes a lot easier to teach if you have walked the walk rather than just talking the talk. Okay, so ultimately, what our kids want to know is, do you understand me? Do you see me? Do you love me? Do you accept me? Right? Do you see what I'm going through? Do you understand what I'm going through? Do you feel what I'm going through? It's so a lot of times we just want to fix our kids' problem, but sometimes we can't always fix it, right? And instead, the next best thing, or the only thing we ought to be doing, is to help our kids know, hey, I see you, I feel you, I understand you, and I am here for you. That's essentially what our kids need to be really self assured. Because remember, kids are feeling beings first and foremost. And they don't always have the tools. So we have to be there so that they're not isolated or feeling ashamed for what they're going through alone. We just showing up is the biggest gift we can give to our kids in order for them to become self-assured. We don't have to fix it, because fixing would then be saying, hey, you're not capable enough of navigating and solving this yourself, so I'm going to have to swoop in and save you every time. That actually takes them away from feeling confident. So what we want is to say, I am right here next to you, going through, or not going through, like providing support, and I'm witnessing what you are going through. And I have every belief that we are going to figure this out together. You're going to lead the way. I am here to support you every step of the way, and we will figure it out together, right? That's what creates self-assured children. So I'm going to walk you through a quick step on how I help my kids, right? So step one is making sure that you're really taking really good care of yourself and your needs and your pain and your desires, right? That's if you want to create not self-centered, self-assured and grounded children, well, you have to put down really strong roots in who you are and know who you are. So always, always, always it starts with you. Step two is letting them feel their discomfort and emotions. Don't tell them to stop it. Don't tell them to keep quiet. I am so guilty of this. And it's only recently that I stopped telling my son this, is when he would yell or scream. I'd be like, you're allowed to feel what you're feeling, but do it quietly, right? Which is such a contradiction, because part of the way he expels his anger and rage is through yelling, right? But he has to do it in a safe way. So now I've changed my script to, I get that you are feeling like really angry, and I suggest that you go to your room and get these feelings out in a safe way. Like, if you need to go to your room, I completely understand. If you want to feel angry and you have these big feelings, like, it's a lot for me, right, to feel this with you. So I suggest you go to your room. It's a safe space for you, right? So that's how I suggest that he goes and expresses his anger, rage, emotion, intensity in his room. And we've created a really safe space for him in his room. And we practice this. So we've recently set up a system where as soon as he comes home from school, he will go to his room to decompress for a few minutes. So we've started with like 5 minutes. You just go to your room, chill out for 5 minutes, listen to music, whatever. Right. We wanted 10 minutes, but yesterday he was like, I'm done after 5. I think if he's had an intensely bad day, he might go up to those 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Like we all want to decompress after a day, right? So for him, like we figured out that's a really good system. So step 3, when they're going through something really intense, right? Tell them, I can see this is really important to you. I can tell this is really hurting you, right? Again, you're just being the reflection and you're reflecting back to them what you are witnessing, because nothing heals faster than somebody witnessing your pain, right? Even though that person might be doing nothing to fix your pain, just having a witness to your pain takes away the self-judgment, the resentment, and the shame that we feel because of what's happened, right? So all you're doing is reflecting back. Step 4, you empathize. I'm so sorry that happened. That sucks. Ask them questions like, where were you? What did they say? Then what did you say? So when they said this, like, what did you feel or what did you think? What you're really trying to do is help them know, hey, even though I wasn't physically there with you, like, can you walk me through what happened so that energetically I can be there with you and know that you weren't alone? That's essentially what you're doing, right? That's why when we are with a therapist or a coach and they ask you to walk through something that's happened to you that's really painful, it feels safer to walk through that painful memory with somebody alongside you, even though they're just there energetically, right? That's why the painful moment can then be turned into a powerful moment, because you are now able to witness it with them instead of you identifying with it. It becomes an objectified event that happened. And then the final step is that you work on the next steps together once you have given them the space to feel their feelings, right? The solution cannot happen while you're in the thick of feeling it. The solution is on the other side of helping them feel their deeply, like, intense feelings and validating that what they experienced is true, right? Like, not invalidating, but validating what you went through. Like, I see it, I get it. I know that it happened. I know this was important to you. I know you felt all these feelings.